Shabbat Shalom. This is the Brothers of GMS Louisiana Saints New Orleans camp with another live Shabbat lesson. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure to the end. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And with this Shabbat lesson, we're just going to go into the fact that the scriptures do state that the elect are going to get spiritual powers, because you got these characters like Vocab Malone and these other bugged out Christians out here denying the spiritual powers and saying stuff like, oh, these Israelites say they're going to be throwing tanks down the street. Well, hey, we are going to throw tanks down the street, and we're going to do much more than that. Throwing a tank, compared to the powers that the 144,000 are going to get, it's going to make throwing a tank look like light work. But we're just going to get straight into the scriptures. You got it out.
Yeah. It's the gospel according to St. John, chapter 14, verse 12. And this is in red letters. It says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father.
And really, this should be stupid simple, but clearly people don't get it. People are set up to be agents to scoff against it. But Yahushua just said it. You're going to do greater works than me. And you can't read the Gospels or really any of the scriptures and say that spiritual powers are just a crazy thing. Yahushua was able to heal the sick, take demons off of people, bring people back from the dead, do all kinds of things. And not just Yahushua. Look at Moses. He split the Red Sea. Oh, but one body Yahushua said that was a metaphor. You had King David and his mighty men who did great acts, Samson, the list goes on and on. So just in the scriptures, spiritual powers are stated. And hey, the spiritual powers are coming back again. But as Yahushua said, you're going to do greater than me. It's going to be on a whole different level. All those superhero movies, Marvel, DC, and Superman, the elect are going to make them look like a goddamn welfare case.
I can say this. When you look at the technology right now that our enemies have, they're on a much higher level. So how much more the elect? When you go into the house of David was fighting against men with swords and spears, and so now the house of David is going to be fighting against people with nukes, drones,
robots,
yeah,
super soldiers, all kind of shit.
So of course we're going to have to get raised up. That's common sense, like the brother said.
Hey, David also mentioned with Goliath, he said, you come at me with shields and bucklers, but I come in the name of the Lord. Right? When he was speaking of Goliath, man. He was like, you coming at me with all this weaponry, right? I just come in the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
And that's where we're getting the spiritual powers from. Hey, the house of David, just like David's about to go against this modern day Goliath, Esau, Edom. And just as how easily David dispatched Goliath, is how easily the elect, led by Yahushua, are going to dispatch you Edomites and all you other nations with all these tinker toy technology and military hardware that you're going to come against us with.
Read this next verse real quick.
Back
on what you just said. This is verse 13. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son.
Hey, what's the saying in Isaiah 60? Before we even ask, we're going to receive. So once the elect get those powers and that connection is completely from top to bottom, and we're just going to ask it, and the Most High is going to give it to us, and it's going to glorify the Most High and Yahushua, just to show the power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. And just to back up what you were saying, King David and his mighty men were fighting against ancient weapons of war, spears and chariots and horsemen. But the Most High built up this Edomite with this technology beyond imagination, just to show his power and how easily they're going to be taken down.
Vocab, don't worry about the tanks. You need to be worried about what we're going to do when we have them powers, when we put hands on you. We can't feel no stabbing from the sword. You can't come to battle hands on karate with, the men of the Lord that day, 144,000. Don't worry about the tanks and all this other crap. You just worry about getting your bones broke, your neck snapped.
Shit, the most he needs to worry about is these famines that are coming and these other calamities that he's going to get taken out in. They're just worried about eating a jellyfish taco. Man, because somebody gave me that Zechariah 12, verse 8.
Zechariah 12:8. In that day shall the Most High defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as Yahweh, and as the angel of the Most High before them.
Give me the one in Psalms. The Psalms talking about David. As it says, and in that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them shall be as David. This is talking about the rest of the nation that ain't a part of that elect number. Even those Israelites are going to be as David. And we know some of the mighty acts of David, as it says in the book of Psalms. If you got it? David was able to bend bows of steel. He said the Most High made his hands like weapons of war. He did many great acts.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 29. For by thee I have run through a troop, and by my power have I leaped over a wall.
If you're running through a troop, that means you're like a juggernaut. Nothing's stopping you. You're running through them, knocking them down like bowling pins, snapping necks, cracking bones, slashing with swords and all that. And he said the Most High made his feet like hinds feet to jump over a wall. Literally like the Hulk. The Hulk can jump for miles. David was able to jump over the enemy's walls, land in there, and handle business.
I just want to say something too. I just watched a video. What they call them? Shaolin monks, or what do you call them? Shaolin monks. Them guys doing push-ups on 2 fingers and shit. Them guys sitting in grease for hours, man. Doing flips and doing all types of, they sit up there on a mountain for years time, and half the time they're training. They're doing, extensive training, man. It look like they tapped into the power a little bit, man. So how much more the men of the Lord, man? I don't know why this is so hard for people to actually grasp. All right? How should I turn? Because it's this. There's no way you niggas can do it, man. That's why Wisdom of Solomon in the 5th chapter says what it says about we fools count it like madness, man. And it's end to be without honor. How is it that he's numbered amongst the saints? But these the same men, all right, the brothers you see around the world, around these different states and countries, these are going to be the men that are going to be deemed from power from on high, man. I mean, what they read? I mean, you read Moses, like you said, you read Samson, Yahushua, who else?
Hey, you got these Christians.
Yeah.
You got these Christians talking about the 2 witnesses that are going to bring down fire from the sky. You believe in that. But you, just like the brother was saying, just because it's a bunch of niggers, spicks, and tontos talking about getting spiritual powers, now it's a science fiction movie.
Yeah, like you said, no problem when, all the men was Edomites.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's possible. I can see that.
That's a good point.
Now Bon Jovi coming back on a cloud on a literal white horse. That's normal to these people.
Scorpions coming out of that hole with faces like men and stingers and all that. Fallen angels. All this bullshit you believe in, but you just err not knowing the scriptures.
Hey, they said, like you say, from a fleshly standpoint, that's the way they do it. But they haven't really dove deep in and indulged and engaged in. And so that our minds is going to be weaponized. That's going to be the greatest thing. Now, they're going to see acts with our hands, but it's going to be our minds that's weaponized, man. Meaning what? Our minds going to be putting forth the things of what we need to do and handle. The Lord going to store the power in our minds, man.
Our minds are going to control the elements.
Yeah, it's going to control everything.
It's going to first start with faith.
It's spiritual.
And once you have the faith that you can do it, the belief, all things of elements, because all that shit that you see is made of matter and elements, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And I got an example to what these 2 brothers are saying. Because Yahushua even tried to tap into Peter to believe. Remember with that very act of walking on the water.
He was trying to open it.
And then when he actually doubted what he said, oh ye little faith, he's gonna get it out.
And Yahushua also said, if you have the faith as this little mustard seed, you'll be able to move mountains.
And that's the argument too. That was somebody else just had an argument with you. Is that literal or what? That's literal, man. That's literal. Go ahead, you read it, because we go all day with this shit. Man.
All right, if I could say real quick, it being literal, they got one of those Superman movies where he goes under a big rock mass that's the size of a mountain and lifts it up and throws it into space. Where they get that from?
Yeah.
Where they get everything from.
Exactly.
Okay, it's Matthew 14:22. And straightway Yahushua constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him under the other side, where he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. For straightway Yahushua spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if thou be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down, and when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Yahushua stretched out forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?
If I could make a point, just what you brothers have been talking about, is that having that faith is going to activate everything. You saw that Yahushua was clearly walking on water, but Peter got in a weak point there and started having disbelief because of the raging of the waves. So that's why he started sinking under the water. Hey, we fully believe that we're going to get spiritual powers. We have that faith, Abaratazah, we can keep it, of that mustard seed to move mountains. And what are raging waves like? A flood. And what's the saying, Isaiah 59, when the enemy cometh in like a flood, then shall I lift up that standard. Hey, we believe that Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua is going to keep his word when that enemy comes in. And some brothers are going to get spiritual powers and be able to be like a dam to stop that flood. Okay.
This Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 17. He shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies.
And what he say? I shall make Judah my battle axe, and I shall make you a sharp threshing instrument.
Come on.
Who's the creature? Israel, man.
His favorite creation. He shall put on righteousness as a blessed breastplate and true judgment instead of an helmet. If I could add, he's using what? Replacement words for the armor that he would have on. So then again, if he don't have armor on, then what would he fight with? Like again, in those days, they may see the men of the law without weapons in their hand and think that they can attack him. Oh, go and get him. But what is going to be a facade? Because why? Again, the minds is going to be weaponized, man.
Righteousness, wisdom, and understanding. That's our breastplate.
That's
our
a
helmet,
weapon.
our shield.
That's a weapon. Because right now, it's a weapon. This is how we fighting against the enemy now. The Lord going to magnify it. All he going to do is magnify. Matter of fact, he's about to say, he shall take holiness for an invincible shield. Come on, man.
So that's for itself.
Come on.
Holiness as an invincible shield. And being separate from the ways of this world and coming to our power. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, being holy to that. And hey, that spiritual mindset and those spiritual powers being activated.
The Lord's not going to give spiritual power to niggas. You got to be holy to get the power.
Yeah. And the holiness is an invincible shield. But though yet, when you actually in combat, you need a physical shield. All right? But the holiness that's set apart, because we're going to be set apart and given spiritual powers, that's going to make you have an invisible shield, man. All right? Something that's invisible is not seen. That's why the weapons out of warfare, they not carnal. But the carnal man looking at it, I niggas ain't going to throw no tank down the street. Most of them niggas, 160 pounds, give or take.
I got one for you.
Come on, man.
This is Ecclesiastes 9:18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war.
It's better than what?
Weapons of war.
Go ahead.
With one sinner destroys much good.
Well, how wisdom can defeat a whole war that's going on? If wisdom is better than war, that means it could defeat the war. And the war is only for what? Physical things, man. Because when you fight a spiritual war against a carnal war, there's no way the carnal can prevail. It's impossible.
Hey, before we started the video, we were talking about David and Goliath. wisdom is better than weapons of war. And in Psalms 33, if I could bring it out real quick, it says, there is no king save by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. A horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. As you were just saying about the carnal man, he thinks the spiritual aspects are just fairy tales and bullshit. He's relying on his gun, his combat skills, if he's got prep foods and stuff like that, his military might.
His muscle. You know?
Behold, the eye of Yahweh is upon them that fear him. It was to say, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and wisdom is better than any weapons of war upon them that hope in his mercy. So, hey, we're not carnal minded out here. Hey, we're spiritual minded, and we know that having our fear and faith in Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, that's going to be the ultimate standard and victory in that day. Just as David said to Goliath, this uncircumcised Philistine, he
followed the armies of the Lord.
Goliath was the biggest man in that army. You know, he relied on his strength and his armor and all that. But David was like, hey, my faith in the Lord, roughly paraphrasing, is what's going to take him out. And that's exactly what happened.
David took all his armor off,
He cut his head off with his own sword.
which is a prelude to how we gonna be coming when the Lord amp us up, man. All right, crank us up like the movie Crank. The Lord gonna crank our spirits up. All He gonna do in that day is furthermore spiritual powers. He's gonna turn ourselves back on, man.
He want to turn it down.
He turned them down.
You know?
He gonna crank us up, man. And again, that's a prelude. Because David, they put all the armor on David, but it was too heavy for him. He took it all off, man.
And what did he use to kill Goliath?
A slingshot,
He used a rock.
a rock.
He used that rock.
Yeah.
A cornerstone.
Cornerstone.
That if anybody comes against him, they'll get dashed to pieces.
That's
That's
right.
right. The power.
A stone. He took all the armor off to show that it's gonna be spiritual, man. You got it.
Kind of. If we go back to that Zechariah 12, you can hold that Isaiah 40, and we just went into, as I said, in that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and 906. In that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. And we just got it in that Psalms 18, that David was able to run through a troop, hop over walls, and it also said that the Most High taught his hands to war, and that he was able to take bows of steel and bend them. So this is talking about the feeble, those that aren't of that elect number. Now we're going to go into that. It says they're going to be as David, but now we're going to go into the house of David, the 144,000. What does it say? And the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of Yahweh before them. And hey, as we opened up with that precept with Yahweh saying, you're going to do greater works than me, and just going into different precepts on how we're going to be made that weapon of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. And we can see the powers of the Most High and also the powers of Yahushua. And it says the house of David is going to be as God. And as it says in Isaiah chapter 40, and he gives us some examples of the things we have to look forward to. You got that Isaiah 40?
Come. It's Isaiah 40, verse 28.
Kind.
It says, hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting power, Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainted not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increases strength.
And just by believing in Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai now, and preaching this word, he's given power to the faint and strength to those that are weary. We're able to withstand these spiritual fiery darts and these carnal things that come our way because we have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to keep us stable in this wicked, wayward world. And if we endure to the end, the next part of it's going to come when those spiritual powers really kick up.
Us having this understanding of these scriptures is a low level form of spiritual powers. Even when you guys come up, we have that discernment of like Yahweh Shai. It's the scripture where Yahweh Shai says he can discern, he can basically perceive their wickedness, man. But a lot of times you come up there on the block, birds know where you're going at, man. Birds see the spirit, oh, this guy is a bug out. You know, he want to fight, he want to
Bullshit.
He want to bullshit a debate, and we know where you're going at. We have that zeal of the Most High, that connection, man.
Discern their thoughts.
That's
They
right.
be wicked. Kind of. Keep going.
It says, even The youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they
Oh, read. Yeah.
But they that wait upon Yahweh shall renew their strength.
Why you can't get that?
Fresh.
Why you can't get that? Why you can't perceive? Well, I know one thing, even with this vocab guy, well, you're a heathen, man. You know, I think you're a heathen. You're not. This is not for you. That's why you can't. That's why the other scripture says, when there's no law, because the law won't give it to you heathens, man. It says when there's no law, there's no sin. So you bastards, man. You out of here, man.
Fatherless.
Yeah. So that's why you can't get it. You don't have no faith.
It says John did that knowing not the law, cursed, man.
Yeah.
Cursed.
The people with my curse.
Yeah. The people like her. Listen.
They don't know the law.
That's when you stumble at this, man.
Yeah.
This is like Chinese arithmetic to you, man. Trying to get a heathen to understand spiritual powers. No?
You gonna understand when he's on the receiving end of it.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's gonna make
What does
perfect
it say?
sense.
In the day of my power. What does it say?
It shall be.
Yeah, willing in the day of my power, man.
That's universal.
Yeah, that's the other end of that
That's
thing, man.
universal too. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It says, they shall mount up with wings as eagles.
And what do eagles do? They fly
High.
very high.
Oh, let's go into because Brother was talking too. Let's tap into an eagle. Do you know an eagle can fucking be on the top of the Empire State Building and then they see a fucking ant on the ground, bro?
Yeah.
Animals got spiritual powers already.
Come.
You know, the fucking hearing of owls, and the owl has certain oils in his eyes and he can see at night and shit. The eagle,
Yeah, the Most High gave that to animals.
We're gonna have them all.
How much more his sons?
We're gonna have all of them. Because we have dominion over the animals. So that we're gonna have every attribute any animal have. That's for sure.
And some reptiles can walk on water, they can run on water. So it's outside the realm of possibility that men won't get the ability to do those things. But a little animal, a little feeble animal can do it.
Yeah, the Lord didn't put his name on animals. He put his name on us. So
Yeah.
how much more? He said, it's my good pleasure to give you the kingdom. This is pleasure.
Anything we have rule over, we can manipulate.
Yeah.
Period. The Lord rule everything. Can he manipulate everything?
Yeah,
It's the same for us. If he give us rule and dominion over it, we're gonna be able to manipulate it.
yeah. How we got the name over the birds if we can't fly?
Yeah, we gonna manipulate.
The animals are gonna fear us.
Yeah.
because even in the book of Exodus, the Lord likens to Israel as a hornet. You see the hornet can fly. The hornet is of all the, it's another scripture about the bee.
The bee, she's chief among
Yeah.
sweet things.
Yeah.
Come.
So by the hornet being,
Bees that live that fly.
being amongst all the insects, but yet that motherfucker vicious, man.
Yeah.
That motherfucker bites the head of the enemies off. You know, it ain't scared. It got some courage about it, man.
Come.
And that's how the Lord likened Israel to a hornet. So how much more having the ability of the hornet, man? You know, like I said, we can go all day on various comparisons, but like I say, if you can receive it, a lot of you can't receive the understanding of spiritual power, but it's plain unto the elect, though, man.
They can't even get the Gentiles issue. The fact that Yahweh Shai and his father were dark, or the Israelites were dark-skinned men, when it clearly says it in the scriptures.
Yeah, but you know, all they believe is that guy that got the little lamb, you know, the teacher bush.
Usually has it on his shoulders.
Yeah, he got it on his shoulders and shit. On the other picture, when he down by the rock, there's an image coming out of the clouds. Man, you people crazy as hell.
Don't forget the one where the Most High is naked and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
stretching his finger.
Yeah.
His finger over.
Yeah.
With a bunch of little babies behind
A
them.
bunch of naked babies. They believe in that though. God doubt.
They believe in fallen angels, the book of Enoch, mermaids.
What happened? And what happened with even with the angel El Peter, man? You know? Yeah, we get probably what you about, you know that.
Yeah, ended on the dude. We'll close out on that one, but you can finish up that.
Yeah, it says, shall mount up with wings as eagles, they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint.
And you'll be able to fly and have all the other attributes, run and not be weary. Be like not only will you be able to walk and run and not get tired, you're gonna be like the Flash. You'll be able to move at the speed of light. What did Yahushua do when they tried to cast him off the mountain? He disappeared amongst them.
It's a couple stories. Kept disappearing. It's a couple stories.
When he
You
was
wanna
with
be-
Abraham.
Yeah.
But when he said you can receive it, he said he had to duck off, man.
I think it was Habakkuk with
I came
Daniel.
before Abraham. Yeah.
Habakkuk with Daniel, where the angel's like, I need you to bring this food to Daniel in Babylon. He's like, I've never even been to Babylon. The angel grabbed him by his hair and transported him all the way there. We'll be able to teleport too.
Who do you think the angel was? It was the man himself, man. And they said, it said they was in the midst of the fire and they didn't smell like fire. The fire didn't hurt him.
Burn their clothes.
But the people think that's just a Disney flick. It's just a mythical story, man.
They believed it when the Edomites playing it though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just us.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
King David was a
Yeah,
white man, so
That's another thing. Like you said, you can't stand it being Jake.
yeah.
You can't stand that we're proclaiming that's us, man.
Boldly.
Yeah, so-called white man can say he's Jewish, he's the chosen people. Nobody says you guys are racist.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
But when we say it, it's like the worst thing in the world.
And then the situation with Peter, yeah, Peter had the faith, but Peter said to the saint, Jake can't swim, man. It's a Jake. That's Jake, man. That's Jake, man. Jake can't swim, man.
That's right.
You got Jake in the middle of the ocean and he get the same, Jake gonna get scared, man. That's Jake.
Grab on to something. Jake will pull you down trying not to drown.
No, he went to swimming train around that bitch. Check it out.
Exactly said, Jake blowing that rain song. Jake got them big lips.
Come on, Jake. Come on.
Bro, we'll close out with that Deuteronomy. Hey, clearly, if you can receive it, spiritual powers are in the scriptures, and in this Deuteronomy, hey, it's going to show you exactly what we're going to do to you heathens when we show you these spiritual powers firsthand. As it says, Israel should be like a lion in the thicket amongst the heathens, and running through them, and ripping and tearing and gnashing, all that.
It shouldn't be that far-fetched. Saul and Jonathan, they were swifter than eagles and stronger than lions.
Yeah, they did say that.
And but they was in the flesh, huh?
Right.
So how are they swifter than eagles and stronger than lions in the flesh? Okay, meaning what? The Lord was dealing with them, man. It wasn't a time the Lord was dealing with Saul, man.
Let me get this up. This is one quick verse. This is 2 Samuel 23, verse 8. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
The Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The same was Adino, the Esnite. He lifted up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. One man killing 800 men in one. And that's just David's mighty men.
What's the name of the boy that threw that javelin through old boy body, man?
That was in the tent or something.
Yeah.
Phineas?
Yeah, he had got into it with him or something like that. Because he was like, look, man, leave me alone. He kept trying to deal with him, but he wound up throwing a javelin or something through the dude's body. Man, you gotta have a lot of strength, a lot of power to throw a damn javelin through a whole man's body, man.
Or Benaiah slaying the two mighty men of Moab and then jumping into that pit during the winter and grabbing that lion and yoking it up.
He was cranked up. He had to necessarily go get the line. He just went got the line. He was in rumble. Like it's like, oh, if you kill two lion-like men of Moab, shouldn't you just chill? He jumped in the pit. He jumped in the pit where the lion was at and went dealt with the lion. That means he was looking for the action, man.
He was with the shit.
Even when Stephen came out the whole house.
He was looking for. He told him to get up.
Yeah, Stephen was so cranked up.
Yeah.
He ripped it like you said. You know that was some heavy ass skills back then, man.
And carried it with him.
Yeah.
And that's
All those killers,
you know,
supported this shit.
Never after getting the box, man.
yeah, right. You still got some.
He should have been taught.
Yeah.
And what about them? Was it 1,000 Philistines that he slew with the
Yeah.
jawbone of the ass?
Come on, man.
And that, man,
And those were men of color, all right. Those were so-called Negroes. Those stories are written about so-called Latinos and Native Americans. That's what you can't understand. That's what you don't want to grasp. Like they just really made the statement. It could be everybody else. All right. Cheech Chong and them, they can go up there like Dragonfly Jones and be the samurais and see what the samurais are Negroes. They can do all that shit, but when it comes to us, don't need to ask. You got a problem with it, man. We can only be in Africa with the hunts and shit, doing the looking like the black man now. What his name is? Michael Blackson. Michael, we can only be looking like Michael Blackson and you know, with the drums and shit. Jumping on goddamn gorillas and all that other crazy shit. But when we match these scriptures with the accounts of men of the Lord and matching over with their appearance and how they look, oh, that's when everybody, oh no.
That's crazy.
But that's fear. That's another point of fear. So you know what will happen if these men, the men that you done done wrong in the society of America, our ancestors, you know what will happen when we get them powers, man. Payback coming, man. I know that's what I'll be thinking about.
Yeah.
Payback.
Shit, that's what everybody in their right mind thinking.
Again, that's why he don't want our kingdom. He don't want us to get spiritual power. It's a great payback coming. It's a great recompense. So, yeah, I'll be on the same tip.
Yeah, I'll be spooked too.
I'll be like, hey, man, y'all can't get this. There's no way y'all get this. The Bible don't say that.
Yeah, that bitch that's lying on Emmett Till, I'll find her Christmas. George Zimmerman, Christmas.
For real.
Yeah, it's a payback coming, man. That's why you don't want them. That's why you don't want them. As I said, them niggas with them spiritual powers, man. No. Go ahead.
I got a scripture for him not wanting the kingdom to come all week. Why he don't want it?
You got one?
Just real quick.
You got one?
Here we close out with that one.
All right. Yeah.
It's to prove that the kingdom is going to come with spiritual power, and it's also going to come with us receiving this gospel. This Acts chapter 1, the point is in 8 and we'll start at 6. It says, when they therefore will come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? Which proves the kingdom is for Israel, not everybody. It says, restore again the kingdom to Israel. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and you shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. Now, we have the Holy Spirit now, which is the comforter through the scriptures, and it says to the uttermost part of the earth. That's talking about right now. It's the only time the gospel has went out to the four winds. And when you go into this word power, it's Strong's G 1411, dynamis. It says strength, power, ability, power for performing miracles, moral power and excellence, power and resources. So that's the kingdom, man. We've got power to perform miracles, and that comes after we get the Holy Spirit, which we have right now.
It says our little ones will play in the den of an ass and be able to play with animals and stuff. That even our children are going to have spiritual powers.
So you want to put it out there?
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, go ahead.
This is Esther 13 and 5. It says, then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men. And this man, again, he was in opposition. All right, to Edomite, right? Which we think you is.
Not only that, but an Amalekite Edomite.
Chief. It says, sin, then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, different in the strange manner of their laws and evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established, man. This is the full Calvin scripture. That he working all the mischief he can, that our kingdom be not established, right? Because who established the kingdom? The men. The Lord gonna set the kingdom up, but what the kingdom of heaven is about? The men. When you read the second Ezra,
The kingdom.
the kingdom, the domain of the kings. And that's where we gonna get our one up at right now. Yeah, we gonna get our glory. That's it. You got it. Yeah, that's vocab long scripture.
And listen, Vocab, Evelyn Rothschild, you Rockefellers, all you bug outs and demons and everybody out there. This is all you have to look forward to when them spiritual powers really get cranked up in the physical. You got it.
Deuteronomy 32 and 30. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight? Except that Rock had sold them, and the Most High has shut them up.
It's not that one, it's another one.
In Maccabees?
It's not
Don't
that.
say shut up.
I know the one you're talking about though.
You know what I'm saying?
They said
That's
shut
the
up.
one in Leviticus.
I think it's in Leviticus.
Leviticus.
Yeah.
This is Leviticus 26:7. And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword.
Reread it one more time, Mike. Listen closely.
God, Leviticus 26:7. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100.
Five men chasing 100. In these days and times, if 100 men come against 5 men, you know the outcome of that story.
They gonna beat you to the pulp.
It says, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight.
A point blank period. You're finished, you're through, you don't understand the scriptures, and the only thing you got to look forward to is seeing them play out in real time with those spiritual powers and those brown hands with electricity coming through them, coming around your neck and choking till the soul leaves you. Hey, so with that, we hope you sincere Akim and Aquaf were edified by this Shabbat lesson. And again, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Merkah, Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word of truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Who got my name on that?
I know. Nobody
It's a
thought
distinct
about that.
possibility.
Nobody thought about that. It got thought about just now, though.